Hey there. My stomach is screaming. It's one of our family favourites tonight. Pia Tod, which is spring rolls with minced pork inside and various other things. And we're showing you tonight in two forms, with the traditional flour cover that everybody thinks of with spring rolls, but which is a little more filling than the rice paper roll wrappers. God, they're so good. There's even the recipe for the sauce, and you eat them all with a mint leaf or two. Oh, can you believe it? Wonderful. Wonderful.
Hello. Today I'm going to cook the Pia Tod. Jeremy will tell you ingredient.
And there are the ingredients. Pia Tod is spring rolls, and we're going to show you a couple of different types of spring rolls, the ones that everybody in the world uses and the ones that we actually like using ourselves. Right, we'll kick off with the ingredients for the sauce, as this will be prepared first. We have tamarind paste, 40 grams of tamarind paste, which is thick and pretty sour. We have 20 grams of ordinary white sugar. You could use brown, but generally speaking, white is used. 3 nice chunky cloves of garlic. 4 tasty red chilies. 1/2 teaspoon of salt. We use sea salt. And then 30 grams of powdered peanuts. All that's going to be combined one way or another in 300 milliliters of natural mineral water. The 300 ml of water is boiling, so now we put in the chilies and the garlic without any they just go in as they are, right into the boiling water, and the salt and the sugar. Okay, and lastly, the tamarind paste. Gives it a really good flavour. So scrape every last little drop of that in, and then stir it around, and we leave this to boil now for roughly how long?
15 minutes.
15 minutes. Okay, doesn't boil fast. Keep it at a medium heat, and we'll come back in 15 minutes and see how it is. Okay, 15 minutes, and this is how it looks. We've just switched the gas off and tasted it. It's got an interesting taste, the liquid. Of course, it's sour from tamarind and sweet from the sugar. So it's quite a nice flavour. So now we carefully take out the garlic cloves and the chilies. And keep the rest of it, because that's going to be the sauce. So that's okay. And now we will mash up the chilies and the garlic cloves in a pestle and mortar. Here's the pestle and mortar. So the chilies and the garlic cloves just go in exactly as they are, and we then mash them. Of course, they're very soft from the boiling, and you just pound away. Getting the bits around the edge. Scoop reduce it if necessary. Now you see it's almost completely liquid now. There's some chili skin left and bits of garlic, but that doesn't matter. You scrape it up and in it goes to a convenient serving dish. Scoop every little bit up. Okay, and this, now we bring over the rest of the liquid that was boiling, and that just goes straight in with the chili and the garlic, and mix it up. Okay, and then pop in the powdered peanuts. And what I didn't tell you at the beginning was that also as a bit of a garnish, we've got two sprigs of see if we can see how big it is. There we are, two sprigs of coriander, which you molest and break up into smallish pieces and pop them in, and those are mixed in, and there you've got your sauce, which goes to one side. Looks rather good. Here are the main ingredients for the spring rolls. We're starting off with rice vermicelli. Vermicelli, as you can see here, and it comes over here, it comes in packets like this. It's dry, 35 grams a packet, and we've used 2 packets, so that's 70 grams of rice vermicelli, which are taken out and put in water and soaked for an hour. So they're softish, and then when you take them out of the water, you snip them with scissors in various 2, 3, 4, 5 times to just make them a bit shorter, to make them a manageable length, because of course spring rolls aren't as long as our kitchen. So there you go, 70 grams of rice vermicelli. Then we've got 1 healthy sprig of coriander here. The root doesn't get used, that'll be detached, but the green leaves are chopped and look good. We've got 6 or 7 spring onions here as well, which of course get tailed. There's an egg, a chicken's egg, a hen's egg. There is 1.5 tablespoons of namanhoi, oyster sauce. That's important. There is a 1/2 tablespoon of Knorr chicken stock powder. There is almost half a teaspoon of ground black pepper, almost half a teaspoon. Personally, I wouldn't mind a 1/2 teaspoon, but it may be a bit strong for some. And then here, bean sprouts, 250 grams of nice, fresh, crunchy, tasty bean sprouts, and minced pork, 350 grams of minced pork, as lean as you can get it. Now, these will all be combined and popped into the coating. And we have 2 types of coating. Generally speaking, if anybody says anything about spring rolls, they are associated with this type of spring roll, which is made from flour, and as you can see from the picture on the packet, we buy it frozen, but it is in sheets. This packet has 20 sheets on it, and it is the traditional type of spring roll pastry, which when you defrost it, defreeze it, thaw it, and take it apart, you find you get one sheet of the pastry that is like this. I'm trying to put my hand under it so that you can see what it's like. Right? Now, my complaint about this and why we usually use the other sort that I'm about to tell you about is that this tends to be, because it's folded up and wrapped and rolled around and tweaked at the edges and what have you, it tends to mean that half of your spring roll is actually made of pastry. And we're on carb diets here, of course. So we actually favour these ones here, which I think may have originally come from Vietnam. I'm not too sure about that. But they are called rice paper, and they're made from rice flour. And they're not frozen, they're just dried. And as you can see, I'll take one out here. Look at that. That is made from rice flour. It's brittle, it breaks easily. And you soak them in water, or you douse them in water before you wrap them up. But they produce, as you can see from the illustration on the packet, they produce almost transparent spring rolls. So what you're eating is what is going into you with a little bit of rice around it. Personally, I far prefer these. We generally eat them because they also don't absorb, when you cook them in oil, they don't absorb oil to the same extent as these ones here. But we're going to do some of each tonight. There you have it. There's the ingredients. And in a second, once I get my breath, we're going to mix things together and things going to get going. Okay, the next bit is the preparation of these ingredients. First of all, you want to take the root off the coriander and take the ends off the spring onions and put the lot together, the coriander and the spring onions, and chop, 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 chop. Okay? Now, once you've got those chopped, they and the bean sprouts and the minced pork all go together in here with the noodles, and they are mixed up together. Some people believe that this should be done with gloves on. Some people believe that they don't need gloves because they are at home and they are doing what they do with their hands most of the rest of the day. That is up to you. If you want to wear gloves because you're worried about the cleanliness of your hands, that is fine. If you don't want to use gloves, you can use your hands like this to mix everything that I've told you about up. And then when you've done the pork and the bean sprouts and the chopped coriander and the chopped spring onion, and they're all in here together, then you add the Knorr chicken stock powder and the naman hoi, and you throw in the egg without the shell, of course, and the pepper. And you carry on once again, with or without gloves. That is up to you, because you are a free person who can make your own choice. We're going to do it now. With or without gloves, I don't know, and you will never know either. We're just going to mix it all together and then come back to you, okay? Okay, we're halfway through mixing it up, and it looks like this. You can't see if we've got gloves on or not. Keep going. Mix, mix, mix. Right, everything's ready now to prepare the actual spring rolls themselves. There's the mixture already. There's a bowl of water, which we need, and the spring roll covers themselves here. So you take one of these We're doing the rice paper to begin with, and you just cover it with water. You can't wear gloves for this. And you cover it with water to just dampen it on both sides, right? And on the chopping board so it doesn't stick too much. And then you take a...
Wait until it's soft and then you put the stuff in it.
Okay.
This one it quite take time.
Okay, this is time consuming. You probably got that. You go on adding water until it goes very, very soft and completely translucent, as you can see. Right? And as soon as you feel that it's soft, but not so soft it's going to tear apart, then you'll be able to go ahead with the stuffing. Of course, the first few that you do of this will be trial and error, but you get the hang of it pretty quickly. Now that's a heaped dessert spoonful of the content, which you position and you shape it, and then you wrap it. They're quite fat because you don't want a lot of skin with these things. You're really eating the contents. So you wrap it, put the ends in, turn it over, measure up the ends again, roll it, and bingo, it sticks together because it was damp. And then you have a plate next door which you can put them on ready for the final cooking. So
I can show this one.
okay, the next one we'll do is one of the traditional and more commonly used flour ones. These all come stuck together, which I mentioned earlier. We've defrosted them, and you peel one off.
Quite difficult.
Which is quite difficult because they're all stuck together. And you try and get one off. Of course, you can always refreeze, being flour, you can always refreeze them at the end. And anyway, you peel one off, pop the rest back for storage, and you put one, and it's already pretty damp. So you can go straight to the stage of adding the good helping dessert spoonful of the filling, and then roll it much like the other one. You roll them, take over, put in the ends, and then roll the thing up. Now the instructions for rolling it on the packet are not quite the way we do it. They roll it, sort of fold the corners in and do this and this, and you end up with a very thick covering. We prefer to eat what's inside rather than the having lots and lots and lots. So we prepare these and do them the same, whether it's a flour skin or whether it's a rice paper skin. And we just flatten it out and put it on the chopping board and then fill it up with as little as possible, because we don't want too much of the skin. It absorbs the oil when you fry them as well. So it's better, we feel, to do it like this and make they're quite chunky, these things, and quite like big fat Cumberland farmyard sausages in the UK. And roll them up like so. I think it's very good at this.
And
We
then
love these things. We
leave
gorge ourselves on them.
leave the bottom on the plate because let it stick.
Yes, put the end bit downwards, face down, so it sticks. Anyway, then you basically carry on with these until you've used up all your ingredients. We've done 4 so far, and we've used about half of it. So we're looking. They are quite filling, these. We'll come back in a minute. There we are. The preparation's completed. We've got 7 of the clear skin ones and 5 of the traditional ones, and we're just heating up some oil in the wok to fry them in. We're using rice oil tonight, and I don't know if you found they get very sticky. We applied some oil to the plate. These ones don't stick to the plate at all, but the rice paper ones are very sticky, and you need to be fairly gentle with them to make sure that they don't stick to the plate and you actually get them into the cooking apparatus without falling apart. We'll pop them in as soon as the oil's hot. The oil looks pretty hot, so we're ready to go ahead and start frying. In goes the first one. They are a bit awkward, stickiness in I love them, these rice paper ones, because they're, there's just so little holding the insides together, and the flavour inside, once you drip a bit of sauce on it, that's so good and quite filling. Make an absolute perfect starter, or even, as today we're having them because we had a fairly large lunch, and so we don't want a huge meal for the evening. And they're absolutely perfect. You can't cook these too fast, so bubble them away, as you can see, and don't let them touch each other either. We've got 3 in this 24 centimeter wok, and you let them bubble away and then turn them as they gradually get brittle outside. The rice paper will obviously strengthen, and you also don't want to cook them too fast because they have got minced pork in them, so they need to have time to cook. As soon as you think they might have gone a bit brown, you must be used to this from frying things, then just turn them over. It doesn't matter how often you turn them over. The more often, in fact, the better, because the more overall browning you'll get. And once they've got a bit of, the skins have got a bit firmer, it's all right for them to touch each other. They're not going to stick to each other. So as you can see there, it's all proceeding according to plan. There we go, those look pretty good. So they don't have to be brown all over. It's more a case of they've been in there about 4 minutes, I should think, maybe 5 minutes each. So they come out and we put them in a strainer on a tray so that they can drain. That's all right. Now we'll do some of the other type. Which are drier. They're a bit easier, but I'll leave it to you to decide which are more satisfying in total. These ones have gone in and they're looking good. These flour ones have only been in about 1.5 minutes. They brown much faster, and it's not because the oil's hot or anything. But we've just turned them over. They've been in less than 2 minutes, and we turn the gas down a bit to make sure that the contents cook well. It's less than half a minute and they're ready. Thing just turned them over and they're all brown all over. So those come out, and we stand them up amongst the rest in the colander to drain them. God, they look so good. The smell is so good, even the cat's popped in for a snack. They're almost ready, and for presentation purposes, we suggest that you cut them into bite-sized pieces. We've got big mouths, as you can imagine. So you chop them up like so, once they're not too hot to handle. Because then everybody can pick up a piece, add a teaspoon of sauce, as you can see the sauce there, pop a little bit of mint on top that we've got, fresh mint from the garden, and that then fills your mouth. It's a bit of a conversation killer, but it's damn good. So there you have it, a lovely plate of spring rolls in two types of wrappings. You need some lettuce to go with this, a good drink, and have a fantastic meal.